Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever the case might be, and welcome to Itessa, the Dark Crusade. Tonight we have a scene where Madeline is just returning to her news haven. Um, she is having a little bit busier than normal nights with all of the hubbub, with all of the activity suddenly started with recent events. But she seems to be in good spirits. She's no longer wearing the armor she was before, but that can quickly change. Who knows? Regardless, she is just now returning with one ghoul. Um, she went out with the two, and she gets home, and Torvald is also at the home, along with Gutria. Maybe the two of them are talking.
It looks like Gutria has been in the same room as Thorvald. Maybe she's tried to strike a conversation with him, but Thorvald is sat in the sort of like the window alcove or window seat. Um, he's pulled down the shutter a little bit and is just looking out pensively. He seems like he has something clasped in his right hand.
Yeah, the door opens and shuts. There is, the sound of, well, at least one ghoul. He comes in and just says that he needs to prepare certain things with Gutria, and Gutria nods. And the two seem to just talk with Madeline briefly. But yeah,
The dog greets the ghoul and Madeline, and then seems to follow Gutria and the other ghoul, hoping there might be some scraps or they might go to the kitchen.
yeah. And Madeline just stands there, sees them off, and mm, just muzzles the hair of one of them, sees them off, and she will just look at Torvald and she'll just say, "Ah, good. I know we have not spent too much time here, but we will be having a guest. I do not believe it will be that long, but another person will be living here for the moment."
He looks over at Madeline briefly. Who?
Lady Irene. She comes over to
Your
him.
your clanmate, he says.
Yes. You see, she has been staying in Ulrich's old haven. It is a secure enough location, but one that has been known to quite a few people, and with the uncertainty, with war potentially breaking out any second, I would rather her, being the child heir of my prince, stay in a position or a place that we can A, defend, and that B, that is not known to very many people.
He nods. He doesn't look like he has any objection to it. He doesn't really react.
So, do you know the customs? Is there something bread and salt should be brought to the home once, or is it only the visitors who bring that to the home when a new home is moved into? Do you remember or know some of the customs?
He looks. He seems to think deeply for quite a moment, as if he's recalling. My mother used to bring flowers whenever we moved into a new villa. Uh, Salt. Wine. You break bread.
Hmm.
Mm.
Very well then. Madeline will just give me a moment. And yeah, Madeline walks away. It like she's gone for a couple of minutes. She returns with salt, bread, wine, and yeah, puts it on the table and begins to just break bread. And she seems to just normally just prepare it. There are goblets for wine. She pours wine for you.
He steps out of the window, and comes over to the table, and you can see like a cord of something um, between his fingers. He sits down, and looks at Madeline properly. A little smile softening on his face.
Can you partake? I understand if you cannot. It is really no trouble.
I'm afraid not.
Hmm. Or allow me at least. And Madeline begins to drink the wine, takes a bit of salt, puts it in her mouth, and she eats the bread. And yeah, she seems to eat it fairly normally, almost like a human would. Well, exactly like a human would.
When she's taken her sips and um, the salt on the bread, he leans across and kisses her quite firmly, enough so he can taste the wine.
Oh, she indulges. She makes sure that he can taste it.
And when he pulls back, he says, "Now we've shared the taste."
Mm. Quite.
And gives her a wink, as if it must be something that she would say.
You learn quickly. I approve.
Is there any word of what's going to happen to the hierarchy of the city? What's
Not yet.
being done?
Not yet, but soon. I believe the things will unravel. But we have a place that is not known. We have Timoran, where you will be introduced to the prince soon. I will make preparations to make sure that you are not affected by the plague. Such precautions must be taken if you are to remain in the city for any period. I am beginning to make preparations, along with many other preparations I must take. Patience. It will come in time.
What about Johanna and Marco?
That is some of the preparations I must take. Well, some of the other preparations.
He looks at her. Other preparations?
It is not something I do not plan to take them to Timoran, and it is not something that requires you to actively partake in, and it is a solution I still need to truly find myself. I am not 100% certain exactly what I am going to do.
Johanna didn't do anything wrong.
But Margot did. I do believe she has already paid quite a bit for it. But there is someone else I must talk to in this regard.
He looks away.
Am I unsettling you?
I care deeply for Johanna. I would not like to see her harmed.
Well, she is, as far as I am aware, enjoying the company and the hospitality of her friend Ulrich for the moment. She is not my concern. Margot, however, is my concern.
I'm not sure if Margot knows what she was doing, but she could have had us all killed.
It does not matter. She is a liability. If the demon is free to take control of Joanna, what she did, regardless of what she did or didn't do, Margot is a liability as well. A liability that must be controlled or solved soon.
You know, not exactly encouragingly, because you know, he thinks the whole thing's unfortunate. I trust you. Just make good judgments.
Hmm.
That's where you
Speaking
and
of
I.
speaking of things that must have a solution, your illustrious sire. Well, I appreciate and I enjoy the time we share together. I cannot help but constantly know that your thoughts return to her why, every so often. You think about her. I know this. I know the
You,
power of the blood bond.
you are jealous.
No, I am not jealous. I am slightly annoyed because, and I will just, we're setting up in dice roll one. I am somewhat annoyed. You are blood bond to her. What? Can you truly say that I can tell you everything and trust you complicitly when she can force quite a few answers out of you against your own volition? Wow, okay.
You
Uh,
fail that.
yeah, you can make a perception empathy roll. Thank fuck for that 9 and 10, because else that would have been.
A botch.
Yeah. Like, you get the sense that when she says, no, I'm not jealous, this is a rare moment, like, where Madeline is like, she is actually quite jealous. Like, you get the sense that there is definitely something there, and you probably hit, maybe not a nerve, but something there.
He moves closer to Madeline. My sire is my mother of the blood. Of course, my thoughts turn to her safety, her well-being. She does not move me like you do. You have no need to fear. If I was asked to choose, I would choose the slow torment of the breaking of the blood bond, decade by decade, for a life with you, and solace and safety. Being parted from you would be far more painful. But I understand. There are some things you cannot tell me because you cannot know whether my sire will use the powers of her blood. And
What
I
is he feeling? Because Madeline is looking at him
um
quite intently, but she is using read the aura or read the soul.
he feels passionate. He feels somewhat um what's the right word? Not guilty. Probably concerned, maybe a little bit ashamed that or upset that she can't trust him. Um but steadily whenever you've used this power for what he does consistently show um, affection, passion, lust, sort of colours associated with love and romance towards Madeline.
Madeline
Um, uh,
is she like it's quite clear that she has a bit of a concerned face, but after that she begins to just ease up a bit, and like a smile just actually almost a smirk just begins to form on her face as she begins seizing it. She will just hmm, hmm. Wait. Perhaps there are ways to hmm, accelerate the process.
when he talks about his sire, you definitely get strong pangs of fear. It's like this blackness that pulsates in the middle of his aura.
Hmm.
He's very afraid of her. It's kind of like a twisted mother and son relationship. Controlling mother. Uh, I've heard that there are ways to break it.
Then this will be a task.
I've also heard these ways involve the Tremere.
Hmm. Well, that is interesting. I would not think you going to that extreme as the first thing. Hmm. Perhaps I should look into it myself. There are certain.
He turns his head away. There is very little I would not do for you, Madeline, and if it comes to it, the Tremere will go. But
Listen
it
to
is
me.
that'll be my first thing to do.
I very sincerely hope not. Listen. There are very few things that I would demand of you, but one of them would be that you come to me before ever asking the Tremere for anything. My clan is not at war with them, and your clan, mostly, is. A lot of clans are. They are in open war. My clan is not, but I understand quite a few sentiments of those in open hostility towards them.
I would like to meet other members of your clan. Your permission.
Oh, why?
Your clanmates. It seems fair that you've met mine.
I shall
And
introduce you. At the earliest convenience, of course.
he
And I
nods.
must, and she just looks you up and down, I will find suitable clothing when you meet my prince and my dear friend.
He looks down at himself. He sort of unbuttons a couple of buttons on his very basic tunic. Do you think I would not appeal to him as this?
Appearances count for maybe not everything, and in the grand scheme of things, not that much. But why give yourselves a disadvantage when you can look your very best?
Hmm. Do you think Irene will fare well living here with us? The
Hmm.
disruptions.
Well, I
She
am.
seems innocent nature.
Oh, she will be sleeping as far away from us as possible. I do not think she would be too restful, too happy hearing our mm, exploits. She is
Hmm.
very, very innocent. I do not know if she hath had a man before.
Sometimes the unlife takes us before experience.
Hmm. A shame.
I've, I've met many that were embraced before they experienced life.
A shame indeed.
Some clans prefer the purity of youth, though.
And some do not get the choice. As you know, I did this out of necessity for quite some time as a profession. Being mortal, well, we require water, bread, as to not starve to death. She says this fairly horrible thing about her past with a fairly proud smile on her face, which is a little strange, but Torvald probably understands by now that, well, certain things.
My sire plucked my mother from a brothel with me as a babe in her arms. Sometimes I wonder whether my mother would have lived longer had she remained doing the job that she did. I don't think I would have lived.
Promise me one thing. That feeling you have, those feelings you have when you think of your mother, never forget them. Keep them very close to you. Not because they're warm, but because they are, I know, quite painful. They are more powerful than you believe them to be. Besides, in time, you will find a new mother. Not me, but our shared mother.
Good. I've done things with you I wouldn't have done with my mother.
Hopefully not. She smiles. And she she gets up, goes over to him, sits on the table, just, well, right next to him. And she just puts a hand on the hand and she'll just say, "What are you clamming in your hand, I wonder?"
He turns over his hand. It's a very simple wooden crucifix. The type you might see a monk or a nun or priest wear.
Oh. She just seems to, like, a bit amused, smile at him, look at him for some sort of clue.
I found it in the ashes of Johanna's place.
Oh, the one that Irene was carrying?
No,
Hmm. A memento.
I do not know. So many people seemed intent on controlling Johanna. I never had such urge.
I never did manage to get her into bed, but that was the extent of the control I wanted to exert over her. Eh, I believe there is still time.
I very much doubt Aldrich's going to let her out of his grasp.
Quite
Or
true.
anyone put in Tremere, part of the city, wherever they. I find it very rich that he accused you of witchcraft, being what he is.
Hmm. Well, there are those who consider obtenebration quite potent witchcraft by itself. So, in a sense, I suppose he is correct, but I take your point quite understandably. He is much more of a witch than I am.
I heard a rumour once that they were witches to start with.
I believe the term is magi. Very, very rare. The rarest of people that can do, well, potentially. Again, my knowledge on this subject is quite limited, but from the rumors I have heard, it is a very, very select few. Only perhaps a couple of hundred of all of the people in this world who are gifted with abilities that are, well, if you can believe it, much more potent than ours. Exactly what that means and extends to, I honestly cannot tell.
He sort of leans so that his head rests against her. You can tell on close inspection that most of his wounds have healed now. You best school me then in how to present myself to your prince.
Firstly, she gets up. Firstly, when bowing to him, your left leg will extend backward, and she stands and begins to show you. Your right hand will stand still and you will bow slightly in the knee. You will put your left hand to your side, not out all the way, but backward. You will bow your head, your your torso, only so far down, and you will almost repeat in reverse the motions of the legs and the arms to stand again. And she will just demonstrate a couple of times. Now, please, show me.
Thorwald, you've seen Thorwald bow before. Much more extravagantly, in fact. When you've seen him bow to his sire, he does the full slave bow, which is very much on the floor. This kind of flourish doesn't seem like something that would come naturally to someone so large, but after positioning his arms a couple of times, he manages to execute the bow.
Very good. Now, you will address him as Prince Ulrich or Your Highness.
He nods.
And Madeline will begin to go over general etiquette. And like after like 10 minutes of lecture, she will just say, I should mention to you, however, that among many other things, he has decreed to me that the entity that took over Joanna and its actions seem to present a more present danger to Timaran, which means that I will spend a bit more time within my, well, true city. It is therefore that I will make arrangements for you to come and live with me.
He beams. He gives a big smile.
You will live in a castle at some point.
A castle.
Yes. Or perhaps she comes over, kisses him deeply, and just seems to savor it as she pulls out from it. It just savors something as she just and then bites her lip a little bit and she says, or perhaps we can sleep like only your clan normally can in my favorite place.
In the garden.
Quite so. Whenever I sleep in Timaran, I sleep in my garden. It is the most serene, the most relaxing thing I know of.
And every night you emerge. Beautiful black lotus.
Hmm. You are becoming more and more proficient in poetry every night.
Well, I've had my muse.
Hmm. Please, continue, she says, as she's smiling.
I do hope there'll be enough room for Aline here. between you, me, and your ego, he says.
Oh, I can make concessions when it comes to my princess Childer. It will be hard, of course. I will need help.
Good. I suppose I should introduce myself to her at some point, so she doesn't think of me as the beast in the corner.
Who could think of such a thing? The gentle giant.
He scoffs.
Or, or the ferocious beast. In in some circumstances, I believe that is very much true. Well, the night after the rats, I must say it has been some time since. She looks at him with quite hungry eyes. It did bring up certain memories, but it was also exhilarating in another way. You were quite insistent. Insistent.
Sometimes. I'm more beast than man. But each side of me tends a hunger for your touch.
Or she kind of almost mockingly or like teasingly just says, I wonder if that hunger is present. Tonight you must live with that hunger. For tonight I have quite a few other things to see to.
I'll try not to starve.
Hmm. She picks up a bit more bread from the table, chews it. Quite good.
As she does, he leans down and kisses her neck, sort of dangerously close to that perfect place that would be very nice to be bitten. Feels slight graze of fangs.
Hmm. Careful now.
And then he reaches up to her lips and puts a few sort of crumbs away and puts them into his mouth. Just a taste for the road. I'm sure I must hit the books, as they say.
Quite so. Oh, by the way, Gutria, my youngest, I do believe she has taken quite a fancy to you.
Chuckles. She's a sweet girl.
This will be your first challenge. I do wish that you would seduce her. It will not take much.
Okay. I mean, the player says okay. The character's like, I see.
And then you must break her heart. You will do this with me. You will tell her that you find her fancy her, you love her, And then you must seduce her, share a bed with her, and then the two of us will share a bed right in front of her, and you will break her heart. Do you understand?
Thorwald, she looks at Madeline. It's definitely not, he's not eager to do it, you can tell that. But he understands why.
And you understand whose lesson this is, yes?
I understand.
Whose lesson is it?
Mine.
Still much to learn. It is yours, partly, but mainly it is Gutria's lesson.
You wish to school her in the ways of your teachings.
As I do with all my children, all my students. She is worthy, as is the boys. And most importantly, and most intensely, you are worthy. But you must learn also to administer this knowledge to others as much as we share each other. You must also learn to seduce someone and teach them that love is a very fickle and thorny prospect with many, many sharp edges. It cuts both ways, suddenly and quite brutally.
He nods. Perhaps you will send her in when you leave for your duties.
Quite so.
She can help me with my studying.
I believe she can. And yeah, Madeline will leave, and yeah, she leaves, and not too long after, um, Gutria, this I do not have a picture of this person. She's not in any way as beautiful as Madeline is.
Well, that's going to be difficult because of Madeline's appearance 5. I don't think there's anyone in the city that's as beautiful as Madeline is.
Well, one could argue Margot, but
Out of character, no. But then I'm not a fan of Natalie Dormer, personally. And beauty's very subjective.
anyways,
Perhaps
uh,
Gucci is beautiful in her own way.
yeah, but there is also this thing of Gutria just being slightly disproportionate, somewhat. That is more apparent if you spend a bit of time with her. But yes, she she enters. She just says, um, the mistress has told me to, and she has a smile on her face, to assist you.
Ah, yes. Gucci, come in. Have some wine.
Oh,
It's traditional to.
but thank you. And she just almost bows. She's a little uh, hesitant, or maybe just a little bit taken aback by this. But she comes in and she gladly sits down.
He sits next to her, sort of pretty close, and he pours her a glass of wine, and he slices her a slice of bread, And with the, don't know, did they have butter? I guess they did.
Well,
But what did you
I
put on
think
top?
I think at this place it would be oil. We're that
Yeah,
far south that butter would spoil way too fast.
yeah. My
So I
brain was
think,
like, what do they have? Yeah, because I know if you put butter on bread, then put salt on it, it tastes really nice. Um, he puts some oil on the bread, and a little bit of salt, and then he'll hold it out towards her.
oh, uh, you cannot partake as the, and she stops herself, as the mistress is able to.
I'm afraid not. A curse of some of us.
Oh,
He's holding it in his hand, fairly close to her face.
she nods and she eats.
He makes sure that he runs his fingers over her lips when she puts it.
She very much blushes. Oh, I'm um, uh, the, uh, you could swear for a moment that as she becomes a little bit more buff and her hair becomes blonde and a little bit shorter, but oh well. Uh,
Yeah, I was going to be like, is this Emily?
but she just and she actually just she's about to say something. You can guess that it's probably about Madeline, but she just says she just begins to just look at you and just mm, oh,
You seem lost for words, Gudrun.
well, it's not every day that a dream comes true, she says. I, maybe I'm dreaming. I
He leans in and kisses her.
You can tell that just by the fact, like your kindred senses, you can tell that her heart begins to beat faster. But it doesn't take more than a couple of moments before you feel her arms around your face. She very much is taken aback by this. But it
Perhaps
doesn't, again, it doesn't take her long to just embrace you fully.
he pulls back from the kiss and he. I mean, I'm imagining in my mind she's not very. She's quite delicate. You know, like perhaps.
Well, not, well, actually, I wouldn't describe her as delicate. I would, well, she's like, she is a bit disproportionate, I would
In
say.
what way?
Like, she's a bit taller than normal. She's not as tall as you, but she is a bit tall. She does have a limp, a bit of a limp.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, there is certain things about her that just stand out. But I mean, she does have a fairly innocent face. Like
yeah.
she is. I suppose you could say delicate, especially in this situation.
He pulls back from the kiss and he says, "Your mistress will not return for several hours. Perhaps we could spend some time together more intimately."
She will punish me, but I will bear that punishment. She says, as yeah, you will notice a thing. Like normally, she's wearing more or less the same clothing as Madeline, more or less. Like it's a merchant's clothing. It's covering most of her body. Um, as she just almost takes you and she does take you by the hand and just um like sneaks into to the bedroom that her bedroom,
Hmm.
smaller bedroom, but still it's also fairly new since they just moved here. And she just looks at you. She's smiling very widely, and yeah, she um, she removes her clothing, but it's this is the first time you've seen her like not more or less completely covered up. When she removes her clothing, she has even more scars on her than you do. If that is even possible. You
So,
can see marks of her bones being broken. Like, and like, it's this, like, like you've seen the other ghouls. They look a bit, maybe a bit starved sometimes, but you know for a fact, like you've seen like once or twice, like they do not have like they may have like whip markings on their back, but nothing near this. And for a moment, like you think like has Madeline done this? This looks to be you actually get the feeling that this might not be Madeline because it's just a hint you get. Like this looks too excessive, too like some of these things are not like you know Madeline enough to know that she wouldn't want necessarily permanent damage to people.
no, I would say that Forward knows it's not Madeline because he sees that a lot of it's been done in probably aggression rather than control.
Aggression or just for the heck of it, and
Yeah,
like
there's a very clear difference.
this is too violent. This is too yeah. There's definitely like something else to this, but she just as soon as she just turns around and she kisses you, she seems to become aware of it, and she just kind of almost covers up.
He undresses as well, and he puts his hand. He sort of gently takes her hand and puts it on his own scars. Most of them seem to be on his back.
She will lighten up at that, and yeah, with that, I do believe that this scene will come to an end.
Well, just before the scene fades to black,
Of course.
he he lifts her up and he says, "This will be our secret." And the scene closes on that note.